This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is AJ Cazana, the Brute from Bullhead Ranch, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show where it's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Fail on Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yachts.
Well, you know, I got my gentleman's jack neat because we got a real southern man in the house tonight.
And it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the Legacy, AJ Cazana.
Oh yeah, the Legacy, formerly known as the Legacy, now known as the Brute from Bullhead Ranch. Old Ironhead Cazana, if you will. Yeah, I went and took some of my winnings from the U.S. tag title when we won that with the NWA, and annexed some of the family farm and rebranded it as Bullhead Ranch. So that's a lot of fun. You can find me on the socials. I think this is where you told me to plug all that stuff, at least,
yes,
if I don't forget it. Instagram's AJ Caz1. Twitter and TikTok are just AJ Cazana, and Facebook is also just AJ Cazana. So easy to find, easy to follow, easy to pay attention to.
And you have a lot of upcoming dates as well. I believe as of this recording, you have Shamrock Slam coming out.
I do. Joe Cazana Promotions, Shamrock Slam. I'll be at SPCW in La Follette, Tennessee the next night. Both nights we're defending the U.S. tag titles. And then I'm jetting off to overseas for a little R&R and maybe a little wrestling along the way.
I know that NWA is doing shows in Mexico and Australia, and I believe you have a match in June against the Beer City Bruiser as well.
I do. I will not be with the NWA. That's a very skeleton crew in Mexico and Australia.
Okay.
But I will be at Bubba Amick Promotions wrestling, as of right now, wrestling Beer City Bruiser, but there is some talks in the works about defending these United States tag titles against formerly known as the Revival, FTR. So I know that's I'm trying to put that out in the universe. Bubba's been talking to me about it, so that would be a nice little challenge and a nice little match to get to.
Well, and of course, all of your social media and your merchandise. Where can we find your merchandise?
Merchandise right now is exclusively, I have some stuff on Pro Wrestling Tees, but the new merch is currently on angrylemonade.net. You can find that all on my social media. We've got new designs dropping every month. I know Junior's done a couple designs so far. We got a couple more designs in the work for Chicago. Stickers, hats, all that good stuff will be all on angrylemonade.net.
Okay, and you don't have to look for the links to his socials or his merchandise. All of the links will be in the description of the video below or on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, can you tell us about, you work for the NWA, can you tell us about your relationship with NWA and Billy Corgan?
My relationship with the National Wrestling Alliance started as most true wrestling stories should start. Paying my dues, paving my way, doing whatever I could to be seen, helping out where I can, and just minding my P's and Q's until I can get to the point of entering action. So I started out running security for them, ring crew. When my number was called for a match, I knew I had to go out and do what I do best, and that's professionally wrestle. The old school, big bruising brutes, beating the crap out of each other kind of way. Um, since then, I've been at every taping. I've been at every event. I recently just signed a contract with them, so that's always fun. I wasn't one of those guys that went out and then made the big social media post, even though I should have, just for, I guess, views' sake. Um, but yeah, I just recently signed a contract with them in January here in Knoxville at the first Power Live. Me and my partner Anthony Andrews, the Thoroughbred, won the illustrious United States Tag Team Gold. Formerly held by the likes of the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express and all that good stuff. So, I mean, my relationship, it's a great relationship so far. I've enjoyed my time with him. Billy Corgan's a great guy to be around. I'll be forever indebted to him and Pat Kenny and all those guys in that locker room for giving me an opportunity and a chance to wrestle at the highest level. And and they know this, and I don't mind saying it. If there's anything I can ever do to make sure that the NWA gets the national recognition and international recognition that they deserve, I'm going to do it.
What did it mean to you to sign, your first pro wrestling contract?
It was a step in the right direction. I know we've all got well, most people, if you get into this business, you want to go be at the top of the ladder. And of course, that is the WWE right now. And but knowing that there's people out there that believe in me to give me an opportunity to step in the ring and have a showing and showcase my skills and my abilities. I was telling somebody, man, it's not the piece of paper itself that it's written on doesn't mean anything to me. As far as it's right here. It was that phone call that I got from Pat and Billy that kind of instilled, a sense of trust, a sense of belief, as they believe in me that this is the direction that they want to push the National Wrestling Alliance, and that meant a lot more than any piece of paper to me ever will. That they gave me my first opportunity in professional wrestling to be seen by a national audience by arguably the biggest wrestling promotion in the last century.
All right. Kaliko, you have a question. You have to unmute, I guess.
Yeah, I noticed. To me, it's a little bit I see it as a little bit differently with you because your grandfather actually, how satisfying does it have to be considering that your great grandfather once owned a portion of NWA and NWA Mid America in the Tennessee territories? How gratifying that you're able to work in an established promotion like the NWA, especially where you actually have family legacy. Does that make you a lot more proud, or does that feel like you have to have a pressure? Do you feel any pressure? Do you feel like you could just be yourself? You want to break out on your own wing? Could you just elaborate on that a little bit?
I mean, it's really cool to be a part of the same promotion because right now the NWA is more of its own promotion. Back when my great grandfather was running Knoxville, it was the NWA was an umbrella governing body over all the territories, and unfortunately, territories don't exist anymore. But I do believe there's people that are trying to bring those back, and I think the NWA is at the forefront of that as far as establishing places and promotions that they trust in each city. So I know we got St. Louis, Knoxville, Nashville. We've been to Atlanta, Tampa now. I know they're hoping to get into North Carolina, and we're in the Mid-Atlantic territory, and we're up in Chicago. So being a part of, and I'm not going to say rebuilding, but maybe reestablishing is the right word. Being a part of the reestablishing of the National Wrestling Alliance that my great grandfather did promote under is a really, really cool experience because there's a ton of history there. Unfortunately, him and my father never were at the top of the card, or never were. John Cazana's Wild World of Wrestling was one of the biggest consecutively weekly drawing shows around. He would draw anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people any given Wednesday night at Chilhowie Park. So there's a lineage of legacy to continue. There's more pressure on myself because I do want to step out, and I want to go past where my great grandfather and my dad have been, and I do want to build my own my own legacy and pave my own path to world championship gold. Obviously, that's the whole goal. If you get into professional wrestling and your goal is not to be a world champion, then you're lying to yourself, I believe. But yeah, to wrap around, dude, it's really cool. There's a ton of pressure, always pressure, but diamonds are made by pressure. So do with that information as you will. Yeah, I thrive under pressure as an athlete. That's what we want. That's what we hope for. I want people in that locker room looking at me and being like, "Kid, like there's so much potential," and then them putting that pressure on me to help refine me. So eventually, I do come out as a diamond in the rough of East Tennessee independent wrestling. We've got a few of us that are with the NWA. That's a really cool thing. But yeah, I mean, I invite pressure. I invite criticism. I invite critiques. I invite the truth. Good players. Dr. Tom says this all the time, and it always resonates true with everything you do in life. You can fill in the word player for anything, but good players want to be told they're great. Great players want to be told the truth. And I invite that pressure and the truth all the time.
Man, that's a mic drop. I might as well just go ahead and end this right now. Let me get my cigarette.
dropping truth and knowledge over here, boys.
Now, can you tell us about the advantages and disadvantages of being a third generation wrestler?
There's more and more of us now. As you look across the spectrum of professional wrestling, I know you've got guys like Colby Corino, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. Those are probably the two that are at the top of their game at all times. They've obviously made it to the pinnacle of world championship gold. But I mean, there's tons of advantages, at least for my last name here in East Tennessee and some areas around here. You know, the Cazana name is well known and it's well respected. But even more so, there's disadvantages, I would say, that come with that, even though I've not felt them. I'm sure there's people I was on a podcast, I think yesterday, and I was talking to those guys about, you know, like I'm 6'2", 295 pounds, and there's not very many people on the independent scene that are going to say something snide or snotty about my last name and that I only got to where I'm at because of my last name, at least to my face. You know what I mean? So even if they did, I know the hard work and the ass, like just busting my ass to get to where I needed to be. And that's, you know, if people want to say, oh, you just got there because of his last name, well, you know, but it definitely didn't hurt. But you don't get put on a pedestal and you don't stay there if you don't keep working. And you don't keep climbing the mountain of professional wrestling if you don't keep working. So I'd say there's more. Realistically, there's not very many advantages. There's not very many disadvantages. There's a few here and there, but it's not enough to really matter. Like the Cazana name, I love my dad to death and my great grandfather, and it's not going to get me to the WWE. You know what I mean? It's not going to be able to pull me into the WWE like some names might. And I think the Cazana name helped me with the NWA because Billy Corgan is a huge professional wrestling fan. Right. He loves old school pro wrestling, and I know he knew the Cazana name before I got there because we've talked about it. And now, but my dad was, and I love my dad. My dad was a fall down man. You know, Daddy was a fall down man. Made a great living doing what he did, and he's honestly one of the. You go back and watch some of the stuff, and he's probably one of the better wrestlers around as far as like this area, and he did a great job at what he did, and that's why he stayed around and stayed relevant until the Vince bought everything.
Right, you didn't get to where you are because you're a name. It laid the foundation. They may have laid the foundation, but you're the one putting up the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Cazana name probably, I wouldn't even say it laid the foundation. The Cazana name probably was the cement mixer, if you will. It was the mix that you put in the cement to get to build the foundation. Because like I said, I trained with Dr. Tom Pritchard, and he's the greatest trainer in the world. But I'll never tell him that because he hates being put over. But he's the greatest trainer in the world.
Yes.
And it's hard to. It's hard to, I'm not going to say hard to garner his respect, but he knew my dad, And I know I did the whole application process and everything the same way any normal person would do. None of us are normal, but any normal person would do to get into the JPWA to train with him. And I know, like, I don't know what he expected from me. I don't know what he expected out of me, based off my last name, based off what my dad can do. But I know that maybe because of my last name and because of my attitude and everything, he might have pushed me a little harder to be a little better than the rest of my class.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know Kane is a part of that school as well. When Kane is around, does things just spontaneously burst into fire?
Not that I've seen, because normally he comes in as Mayor Jacobs and not corporate Kane or the demon, the devil's favorite child or whatever. He did Demon Kane. No, he's usually just Mayor Jacobs when he comes by.
I know that.
And I will add that he does look really good in a suit.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Just he has to wear the mask with the suit, and it just completes the
the mask with the suit. I wish he'd wear them. I've never seen him in the mask, not in person. So, yeah.
I know that Undertaker took a trip down there to teach a class. Were you a part of that?
So he came down for the A&E thing. They were doing this. The treasures A&E treasures thing.
Okay.
And they were looking for the original urn. And it aired, but I don't think they aired any of the JPWA stuff. I was there when he was there. God, what's his name? And I can't remember his name in WWE. AJ Francis.
Top Dollar.
Yeah, Top Dollar, right? Yeah, he was. I actually got to work out with him while we were there. He came in a little early while Mary Jacobs and Taker were getting some food next door, and I know, like, me and him, rolled around, did some Dr. Tom drills, and just broke a good sweat. And so about 2/3 of the way through, though, I know we're working. I take him over a headlock takeover as soon as Undertaker walks in the door. So Taker was there. He didn't really get any hands on. I wish he would have. I would love to sit under that learning tree. But no, he didn't. He didn't teach a class, but he was there to watch me wrestle. So he has seen me wrestle in the early stages of AJ Cazana professional wrestling.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I got a picture with him, and I made Glenn, Mayor Jacobs Kane. I made him laugh because I walked in between. I said, "I've never felt so small in my entire life."
And that's saying something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, you're a big guy, and you're in the presence of two of the biggest names in pro wrestling, period. What does being in the presence of those names mean to you? What kind of perspective did it give you?
I mean, that particular day, not very much. It didn't, because we were there to record some stuff for the WWE, and we were there to just be props, and they were doing their thing. We didn't get to really interact or ask too many questions or anything. But I mean, dude, I'm in a locker room right now with Trevor Murdoch, with Tyrus, with Aaron Stevens, EC3. We've got Tim Storm, Jack Stain. Like, we've got a ton of knowledge sitting around us in the National Wrestling Alliance locker room. And you've got Pat Kenny, and at any given time, Dr. Tom Pritchard's there. We got Doc, we got Medusa, we got Homicide, we've got Swinger's been there a couple times. Raven was at the last round of taping, so there's a ton of knowledge in the background there, and I get more perspective, and I see a lot more there with them than I did that one particular day. But Glenn has been there a couple times where we've gotten to ask him questions and talk to him and catch up and just get some critiques from him or some ideas if he's watching us train and stuff. I mentioned this to somebody earlier. So I was in a match with, and I'll just quick backstory. Me and Silas Mason were tagging together at Imperial Pro Wrestling here in Bristol, and Dennis Condrey was our manager for the match. I don't know if you guys know who Dennis Condrey is. If you don't, you both need to be slapped. He's, arguably one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, part of the Midnight Express with beautiful Bobby Eaton. all around good dude. And you get in those moments with these, because that's a guy that I idolize as a professional wrestler. Like, I watch his era of wrestling more than anything, and getting to spend time with him and see him, I think that was I'm not around him all the time. So, like, it was, the mystique was still there versus, and I think this gets lost a lot with kids that train with him and kids that are in the NWA locker room or whatever. But like, I spend way more time than I ever imagined I would spend with Dr. Tom Pritchard and Ricky Morton, who are also two of the best tag team wrestlers of all time. And I think that mystique gets lost when you're around somebody so much and you don't really get to understand the learning experiences that are happening around you at the time, because you're like, okay, well, I hear this all the time, or I hear your voice more than, I don't know. It's a weird thing. So Glenn gets a little more, Kane gets a little more, the more he's there, the more the mystique kind of wears off, the more you talk to him.
Right.
But he does, his knowledge is insurmountable. And so is Dr. Tom and Ricky. Like, at any given moment, they can drop knowledge bombs on you, and it can make that light bulb in your head click, or it can make the two fuses go together, and you could be like, here's a moment that I needed to hear this, because it's going to lead to the next elevation in my career, if that makes sense. I don't know why I tell long stories to get to the point, but it makes everything fun for me. So
no, that makes sense. It makes sense. I love the stories because I see your point in the perspective where it's like you're seeing them as a god, and the more and more you see them, it kind of sees you kind of see them as your peer, and it's trying to get away from being like, oh my God, this guy is talking to me. In your mind, it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's talking to me, to actually soaking in the information. So I get what you're talking about.
Like, Dr. Tom talks to me. He talks to me differently now than he used to. Again, I do see him, if I'm lucky, 3 times a week. If we're taping, I'm there. He's in meetings and stuff, but at NWA tapings, I get to spend time with him. And it's not all about wrestling, and that's one of the things that you have to go, if you're in the business, like, like these guys, I can go up and ask all these guys wrestling questions all day long, but they're normal people, and they may not like talking about wrestling all the time, and that's cool. That's a cool side of it, is get to know Dr. Tom and Ricky Morton and these guys on a different level, than just, as a mentor or a coach. But I think when you start getting on that peer level, and you start the friendliness and like just the interactions, and I think that opens up the door for more truthful critiques, and versus like talking with Kane, or talking with Mr. Condrey, or anybody, like a seminar that you met somebody for the first time. Again, it all circles back to good players want to be told they're great. Great players want to be told the truth. You may not get 100% the truth from those guys, because they don't know how it's going to make you feel, and they don't want you to get a negative experience from their seminar or from their interactions with you. Versus like Dr. Tom, if he tells me, like, if something I do is absolutely dog awful, he'll tell me it's absolutely dog awful in a lot of different ways. So I think it's just, it's a cool thing. I don't know. I just like rambling, guys. I'm sorry. You guys cut me off at any time.
No worries.
Oh no, we love this. This is what it's here for. It's to allow you to have that perspective, because you have the perspective that honestly we will never be able to attain, and we love it.
Kaliko, you have a question?
Now, you said that you're being able to talk to these guys and they're becoming your peers. What is the one advice that they gave you that you didn't expect, that it applies to you not only in wrestling but in your sense of purpose in life as well?
I mean, I think a lot of it is, well, Dr. Tom's told me a lot of things. He's got a lot of little clippy one-liners, like the good players. Again, that one's the one. Like, you can take this good blank, want to be told they're great blank, want to be told the truth. It could be applied to workers, like at your job. It could be applied to parents. It could be applied to anything. And I think that's something that definitely Dr. Tom's dropped on me. And he's also dropped, it's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. That's helped me out a lot recently. in life, because that's just a generally good little clip to have, good little quote to live by. Man, I don't know, obviously, honestly, how much they've told me that's resonated outside of wrestling. And because I don't think it really clicks until you hear it, and then it kind of lives in the back of your mind. But those two things for sure, by far. And that just, like, a good husband wants to be told he's great. A great husband wants to be told the truth. You can use that verbiage with anything in life, and I think that's the best one that I've gotten by far. But also, like, I know Bruce Pritchard came into our class, and Doc said this before, like, take time out of your day. Like, you understand, like, as a wrestler, like, we're traveling a ton. If you're flying, great. If you're driving, great. I prefer to drive because flights scare the living bejesus out of me. Also, I'm big. So I'm usually cramped up like this the whole time. It's just, I'd rather be in a car. But take time out of your schedule of flights and traveling and working out and making sure you hit the gym, making sure you hit the ring, making sure you're where you need to be. Take time to go enjoy life and explore the sights, because some of these cities you may never get to go back to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've heard that's kind of just a life lesson. Enjoy the little things, boys. It's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Can you tell us about winning the NWA U.S. Tag Team titles, and what did that mean to you?
Well, it means to this point in professional wrestling, it means the world to me. It's the highest level I've achieved as a professional wrestler. It's the highest level any Cazana has achieved as a professional wrestler. And I don't know if you guys know this, but this year will be 90 years in professional wrestling for the Cazana name.
Yes.
And in that time, there's not been any National Wrestling Alliance or other major promotions gold or titles or anything. And getting this title, especially here in Knoxville, in front of a ton of between Silas and I, and Kenzie was here. We had friends, family, 3-4 layers, removed from, like, your closest friends. So you had your friends here. Co-workers were in town, like people that you used to work jobs with that now they see you wrestling and they're kind of living vicariously through you. Local promoters who are booking you because they like you as a person, but also they were there in the beginning. Like, SPCW was one of the first promotions I ever worked, and I know Matt and Johnny both were there, because I've got the clip of the pin on Legursky, and you could see Matt absolutely losing his mind on the 3 count. So it was an experience. It was a new level achieved for the Kazanas and for me personally, but it lit a fire under my butt to keep pushing and to keep getting better and to keep getting in better shape and just keep pushing the envelope and make sure that I leave no stone unturned. I leave no money on the table, I guess might be a good analogy. And just, I mean, it was a surreal experience. I know I got in the back and was pretty relieved. Breathed a sigh of relief afterwards, and now it's, I've got it with me at all times, and it's motivation. It's with me at the gym. It's with me in training. It's with me on the road, because it's the peak of the iceberg, if you will. It's the first little taste of success that I've had in professional wrestling, and it's only made me hungrier. So it's great. It was incredible. Honestly, it was a great experience.
And there's more to unpack on that, because, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first ever live NWA Power as well.
It was the first live Power from Knoxville, where we had, don't quote me on this, but there was definitely over 500 people there. I want to say it was closer to 800.
And how many
for
of them
Tuesday
was
night.
friends and family?
I mean, man, like, I know Silas told me he sold like 50 tickets. I know I sold like 50 and had a few comps. I mean, like, directly sold those. And then, I mean, I had one aunt here. I had 3 uncles, maybe 2 aunts, 2 uncles. Mom, dad, little brother. I've got 6 cousins. I know I had 5 people that I work with at the restaurant. Had like 3 or 4 people that I coached football with. A couple older workers that knew my dad that had been around, that knew me when I was 6 years old. Silas's whole entire family was here. His personal trainer was there. So there's a good chunk of Silas and AJ fans and friends and family that were there, and they were obviously the loudest ones when we won.
I mean, what does that mean to you that, it wasn't just, any episode of Power. It was the first ever live NWA Power.
What did it mean for me to win it on the live Power?
Yeah, that it wasn't just, a normal episode. It was, a significant episode. And being trusted to win the titles on such a big show.
It was special. It definitely meant a ton because at a normal Power taping, there's about 100 people there. And at this one, again, hometown, tons of people. I mean, it was more of a good pay-per-view crowd. And they were hot the entire time. They enjoyed themselves and they had a lot of fun. And it means a lot to be able to say that Anthony and I won the United States Tag Team titles on the first ever live Power. It's just frosting on top of that already pre-built cake. It's maybe the cherry on top.
Now, obviously winning the NWA Tag Team United States Championships are a big deal. You also got a Battle Royal participation trophy.
I did, yeah. That was an experience. And to this day, I'll never forget it. Every time I see EC3, I remind him that I did get a participation trophy. That was a fun one. Those guys were nuts. They're fun to be around. And I think that was everybody. The 20-man over the top rope. Everyone gets a participation trophy battle royal. That was I don't have it. I think I had to give it back because they sold them.
Oh,
Somebody
wow.
stole it out of my bag or something. I don't know what happened to it.
What?
You give a participation trophy and they don't even give you the participation trophy? That's a scam.
I think they stole it out of my bag. I had full intentions on bringing it home. But I think they made some money off of them. So whatever. To each their own.
Yeah.
Who takes a participation trophy?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know who took it.
Oh gosh, that is nuts. Well, going back to that NWA United States champ, because the first tag team that I think of when I hear that title was the Midnight Express, because it was funny. That was the first belt I had a crush on. Like I could look at it, I was like, oh shit, that belt looks dope as hell. And I always try to ask people, like, when they win the belts, are they more traditionalists and like just keeping the belt as it is, or do they like to put their own flair on it, put a little decoration to show, hey, this is mine and this is my stamp in time? So what are your stance on that, considering that you have the lengthy family history, you're setting the bar for your family, and for the family name, so do you just feel like you just want to keep that tradition and just and set your own way, or you just want to switch it up a little bit, put a little twist on it for yourself?
Well, we won the belts, and they exchanged them for the flag belts that the fixers had. The red, white, blue.
The red, white, and blue.
Yeah, they had athletic tape on it with all the good, that's the fixers rule and the gray ski and whatever. They had all their crap on there. When we won them, they brought them out. And I don't know if you guys are going to put this on the YouTube if you can see it, but these are the new belts. They're 8mm thick. It's double layered. It's got texture throughout it. The red leather, 7 plates. The leather's got texture. This my favorite belt that I've seen with the NWA is it's currently. I mean, it's the national title is based off of it. I think it's the North American Championship. Ricky Morton's actually got it at his school, and I always tell him every time I go up there I'm going to steal it. But that's probably one of my favorite belts, and I think it's because of the texture of the leather. And then when they made these and they added texture to the plates.
Right.
I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, and I love the red leather. I love the red lettering. I love like this. This is one of my favorite belts now that I've seen. But we did add a little twang to it. We've got Country Gentleman on the nameplates here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's Anthony Andrews. He's like, dude, we said we were going to change the nameplates, so we have to at least put our names on them. I was like, yeah, man, I'm cool with it. So whatever. He made them, and they fit perfectly. So I like traditional belts, though, man. I'm not going to change anything. Like the spinner belt was trash. Spinner belt's trash. Like that's dumb. I get the reason you do it, but that's the worst belt I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh wow!
Bring
So
the 12-pound, the 10 pounds of gold,
10 pounds of gold,
silver, the World Tag Team titles. I love the 3D, like the cast eagle.
Ooh.
My dad's belt. My dad, his Southeastern Heavyweight Championship belt is modeled after my great grandfather's belt.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to get like the 3D cast done for it, but Dave Milliken did his best, and he did a really good job. We've actually got our podcast up. I think it launches as of today, which is the what day, 20th or 19th? I don't know what day of the week it is. 20th of February.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave Milliken came on and he did it and delivered it in person, and it's a beautiful traditional gold belt. It's about the same size as my title.
Nice.
And it's just, I'm a traditional guy all the way. Like easy, like high-waisted trunks, wrist tape, and boots of some sort, not kick pads and shoes, boots.
Yeah.
And I'll get heat for that, I'm sure, with all these indie marks, but whatever.
You know, I had a conversation with somebody, another wrestler, recently. You know, I'm a traditionalist in the way of, wrestlers wear wrestling boots. That's just how, I started watching wrestling. Everybody had them. And, if you wore sneakers, okay, if it's a part of your gimmick, fine. But, again, wrestlers should wear wrestling boots.
Well, here's and this is Dr. Tom Pritchard's take on the matter, is John Cena. He told us he could be embellishing the number, but he said John Cena had 100 pairs of boots and 100 pairs of trunks to match. Of course, I think the boots probably is a lie, but John Cena wore trunks or the bikers and wrestling boots.
Yeah.
That was what he started with. And as he elevated his character and got to that Hulk Hogan status where he doesn't have to, but he didn't have to. He went out in his cargo shorts and his baseball jerseys and did his 5 moves of doom. But he made it to that point to where he could get away with that. Like you got these guys on indie shows down the road that are wrestling in T-shirts of, I'm trying to think of some obscure emo band. Let's just say I love My Chemical Romance, but we'll just say My Chemical Romance shirts, and like their eyeliner on, and they're in kick pads and basketball shorts, or like even if they're in fight shorts, the fight shorts don't fit right, and they're in wrestling shoes. And I look at them, I'm like, dude, like I've worn wrestling shoes before on a wrestling mat when I was an amateur wrestler, when I was shooting on people and throwing them around the mat. Like that's what wrestling shoes are for. Like wrestling boots are for professionals. There's a reason that your top draws and all these companies are wearing wrestling boots right now.
Right.
And say what you will about Roman wearing all his stuff, he's in boots.
Yes.
And those are probably custom made to look the way they look. Like my boots that I wear now are snakeskin cowboy boots that are modeled after my actual snakeskins.
Nice.
But they're wrestling boots. That's what they are. They're made to wrestle in. But whatever. I'm gonna get on that soapbox, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're just mad because you can't do all these flips and stuff." And whatever. People forget that I'm a Division I athlete and I played football at the University of Tennessee. I can do anything I want to. I just choose not to because I'm big.
Yeah, you could get up for a 450 if you needed to.
Oh, if I wanted to, man, I could hit a 450. Actually, I'm scared of heights, so I don't go to the top rope. There's your little clip for the day that nobody thought they'd hear. AJ Cazana. That's your headline. AJ Cazana, scared of heights? Question mark.
Don't put him in a ladder match.
No,
hell no.
Dude, I dread the day that I have to go up a 12-foot ladder to get a freaking belt or anything. One, because I'm almost 300 pounds and the weight limit on those things ain't that much.
Yeah. Anthony,
and two,
get your ass up there, Anthony.
Yeah, go. You go. I'll hold the bottom. I'll base for you.
That being said, can you tell us about your tag team partner in the country, gentlemen, Anthony Andrews?
Anthony Andrews is a long lost Cazana cousin that we kind of stumbled across when we were paths crossed the first NWA tapings that we were both at. He's from, I believe he's from the depths of Georgia down there. You know, we don't talk too much about them, but he's from Georgia. He's since relocated out to Texas. I know he's been wrestling a good chunk of time. I'm not exactly sure how long, but you know, he started off as the adorable Anthony Andrews. I looked at him and said, "Brother, ain't nothing adorable about you. I mean, you cute, you handsome, but you ain't adorable. I'm adorable." You know, so we got him. We convinced him to change his name. He's now the Thoroughbred, and I'm like, that's a little better because you're beefy, you're built. You know, people want to, you know, thoroughbreed with you. I guess I don't know, but no, Anthony's a good dude. He's been around, and he thinks a lot more than I do. I know that much. He does a lot more thinking. I just kind of go do whatever. I don't think a lot of things through, and he's there to pull me back and be like, hey, maybe we should think about this. I'd be like, well, you think about it, you tell me what you think, and I'll tell you if I agree or not. It's been a fun road.
Is there a pet peeve about your tag team partner that you just don't understand?
He thinks too much. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he thinks too much. That's about it.
Fair enough.
No. I mean, I don't. You know, we spend 3 days together at a time here and there. I know we're starting to pick up some bookings, and we'll be on the road together a lot more. So I'm sure there'll be some pet peeves come out. I know I'm sure as hell not easy to deal with. You can ask my family that, or any woman I've ever been with. I'm not easy to deal with on a consistent basis. But no, I mean, he thinks a lot. You know, I try to get him in some good new country, and he's just stuck in his old ways. I'm like, cool, man, you know, do your thing. As long as we agree that pop country is trash, we'll be okay. And we agree on that, and, you know, we just roll down the road and have a good old time. But, yeah, it's just he thinks too much. It's like, dude, let's just go do it. Let's just go have fun. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? We get in a fight or they throw us in jail. That's it. I don't think we're going to die, but, you know, we might. Who knows?
All right.
He's like, maybe we need to reevaluate your thinking. It's like, you do all the thinking for us. I'll just do all the hitting. But,
Felico, you have a question.
You know what? When he said flippy shit, there's two things he called me on: flippy shit and University of Tennessee. But I'm a Georgia fan. We'll leave the Tennessee side of that on the other side. But when the flippy shit, because the one thing I always say, the advantage that NWA has on a lot of the other promotions is that the storytelling is simple and it's not insulting the wrestler's intelligence. And especially considering the regions that they're working in, those fans, and me included, we like that. That we gravitate to where it feels real. We know, you know, where we feel like we want to jump in the ring and hit you. That's how real, you know, we want it to feel. Could you elaborate on, you know, the crowd in that region and how, you know, your craft in the sense of making it simple to where it's just simple and the people are buying into it, the fans are buying into it, and just elaborate on that part of it, because I think most people tend to forget that the South, to me, I always say, I'll stand on this till the day I die. Tennessee is the wrestling capital of the world, because without it, there's nothing else. There's no Hogans, Savages, Austins. No, everyone had to go through Tennessee at some point.
Good old Memphis territory, baby.
Exactly. So to me, and that territory to me is such a gatekeeper, because those people actually buy into it in a way that Chicago and New York and them can't, because they try to get over with the chants, but those people actually believe it. And could you just elaborate on that, being from the South, as a Southern brethren, because I feel that part. That's the part I really feel.
Yeah, man, good old Southern wrestling. You know, so I trained in 2020 in the height of COVID, and we were very strict with what we did. As far as none of us went out, none of us went drinking, partying together, none of us did anything. We training gym, home. That's what we did because we all wanted to get through our training. We want to get the most out of it that we could. But you experienced wrestling for the first time from a distance with no fans and no interaction with fans. And you could see all the flippy stuff, man. Like everything. I may get heat for this too, probably somewhere. He'll probably never watch me ever talk. But Ricochet's one of the most athletic, phenomenally athletic dudes in the world.
Yeah.
But once you've seen 4 or 5 Ricochet matches, you've seen all his matches. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he's way better than just doing the flips and stuff. But I think they started doing it more and more before I got in the bit. Like obviously before I started, but they started doing it more and more to where like it's okay. Well, here's a sunset flip, or not a sunset, even a sunset flip. Yeah, here's a shooting star press. That's a cool move. That's hard to do, but it's like okay. Well, how do we one up it? Well, if I shooting star press into a foot stomp and get all the way around, okay, cool. That's a little extra athletic. Oh, here's another 450. And you start to Canadian Destroyers used to be a finish. It's just to be a finish. DDTs used to be a finish. So you just see the over complicating of things. And during the height of 2020, you could watch that on TV from the comfort of your own home. You didn't have to go to shows. There was no emotional ties. You're just watching athletes do acrobatic stuff. But if I wanted to do that, brother, I'd go watch Cirque du Soleil or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, that, whatever. You speak that stuff. I'm too dumb for that. But you could see that on TV. I could look up YouTube videos of acrobats and gymnasts doing significantly harder things that's more entertaining than watching a wrestling match. It's just all over the place with no selling and no emotions and no psychology. And I told one of my friends, like, man, like, I don't know. It may have been Silas, actually, again. Silas Mason's one of my best friends in wrestling, and we talk a lot, and you'll hear me talk a lot about him. But we may have been talking because he also wrestles a big Memphis style, you know, like he trained out in Portland and Vegas, and then he came here with Doc, and I told him, I was like, man, I don't know anything about pro wrestling. I'm still green. I'm still new to this. Hell, I'm still new to this now, but this is one of the things that I think I said Memphis wrestling. I said this old school Southern wrestling. I said it's going to make a comeback. You're going to see more of it at the top of the ladder, at the top of WWE. Roman Reigns is doing it now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys see how much he interacts with the crowd. He's been a champion for 900-something days, and that's been the best thing that I've seen him do. Like, he does a ton of great work in the ring, but he slows it down and does interact with the fans around the ring. And that's cool to me. And it's like, I was like, dude, this Southern wrestling's going to come back. I'm telling y'all, people are going to want Memphis. People are going to want Memphis. You know, they're going to want this trash talking, big bruising heel that's not afraid to look at you and tell you your mama looks stupid or whatever. Of course, nowadays you have to be real careful because people get their feelings hurt a lot easier. But you're seeing more and more of the emotions, and working in the southern region, and working in Tennessee, and working in Georgia, and North Carolina's a little weird sometimes, but most of the time they're into it, and it's the old Memphis stuff. People just want to see entertaining wrestling, and people want to be entertained. That's why they go to pro wrestling shows. They go to pro wrestling shows to lose themselves. Now there's some, and here's more heat coming from the indie marks. GCW is a show that has untapped and incredible amounts of talent across the board, but you can only see the same spot in a death match so many times before you ask, okay, well, what's next? How much more can we, like, what's got to happen next? The pinnacle of all of it is somebody's going to actually kill themselves in a wrestling ring. And then people are going to be like, oh, maybe we should step back from that for a second. I don't know. And they do a lot of them. It's just the oversaturation of this stuff, and like having a death match one off, you know, where it's not the whole show's death matches, but it's like one death match
right
at the end of a big, huge brawl where it's like, dude, it's just going to be anything goes from here on out. You know, I hate this guy so much. And then like, but you build the story into it instead of just going out and hitting each other with light tubes or whatever. I'm not man enough to do that. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not going through a glass pane or taking a light tube because I'm a coward. I'll be a coward. If that's what makes me yellow, I'll be yellow. But, you know, but it's the same thing with the flips and stuff. You get I was talking to somebody, I'm not going to name them because they may get heat too, but they went to a GCW show, and they are in the business or aware of the business, and they said every match was 12 to 15 minutes. They were given 12 to 15 minutes. They all went over except for like 2. And he said, dude, he's like, there were no storylines or no stories told in matches other than like George South and Ricky Morton's match.
Right.
He said there were no stories. He said it was just, let's get all our shit in and get out of here. And he literally, like, as somebody who's been around the business for 10 to 15 years, like, not me, the guy I was talking to, like,
Yeah.
he can kind of read a crowd. He said they were worn out after the first match because they'd seen it all already. And I don't know, and like you can only do so much, and so much of that stuff, those guys aren't going to last. Their bodies are going to shut down before their brains do. Like, at least fortunately for me, my brain's probably going to go long before my body does, and I think I can motor my way through a lot of wrestling matches with my body just moving. That was supposed to be semi-funny. It's really not funny when you think about it, but it was supposed to be funny.
Hey, as long as you don't do death matches, I think your brain will be okay.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, you see, and, you know, just to wrap around, you see more Memphis wrestling across the country, and Chicago's going to be a real test for the NWA. I truly believe that, but I know we've got some Chicago-based wrestlers that can go out and deliver, and I think we can bring in, and you can have the indie stuff, the super over-the-top flippy stuff, with traditional storytelling and traditional wrestling, and Dr. Tom, again, Dr. Tom's the greatest mind in professional wrestling. If you tell me otherwise, you're wrong, and your opinion doesn't matter. But him and even guys like Aaron Stevens and these guys that get wrestling, there are spots and there are moments where the flippy stuff can matter. But if you go out and you lock up, grab a headlock, shoot, big shoulder tackle, drop down, hip toss into a Canadian destroyer. Oh, well, now we're going to hit a destroyer. I'm not selling your destroyer. I'm going to pop up, give you an elbow, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just a move after. If you're just out there doing moves, like, it's dumb. It doesn't make sense. But if your Canadian destroyer means something, and it's the finish to the match, or there's some wonky sell to where he gets under the rope and you can't move him back, like it can make sense. The flippy stuff can make sense. The freaking spot from the Royal Rumble. It was Logan Paul and that was a moment. That was a moment. If they had been in a regular match at one of the flippy shows, boom, 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 big that there, like, it would have gotten lost in that moment because the match would have been all over the place, and then they hit it. But they hit that, like, I can see it. And I've only seen it one other time, and that was NWA Wild Side. Caprice Coleman, I think, did it. Was somebody else, but that's impressive.
Right.
That was a huge moment, and that's one of those things that, like, again, like in a traditional wrestling match, you're just looking across the ring, and I'm gonna find a way to just knock your freaking, and you both do it. Like, that was cool. I don't know, call me stupid. You can, it's fine. I just Memphis wrestling's coming back, boys, and you'll have it more intertwined with your trash talking guy heels and your just over the top baby faces and stuff, and your gimmicks and everything. But I think the NWA, again, is going to have a challenge in Chicago with that crowd. But I think that wrestling fans need to be reconditioned. And that sounds terrible to say too, but have you guys heard of Pavlov's dogs?
Yes.
The ring a bell, feed a treat.
Yep.
Ring a bell, feed
Yep.
a treat.
Ring a bell, feed a treat. Yep.
So, like, that's wrestling fans are that way. That's how you get, like, you hit your finish. This finisher puts somebody out. You don't have anybody kick out of your finish until a year into your thing, and you're working. Here's my spine buster. Nobody kicks out. But my spine buster, I hit it 100 times, and then when somebody kicks out, it means something. And that's the same way I think it's going to happen with Memphis style wrestling and a traditional old school NWA wrestling. Is that it's going to have to be seen by people live. They're going to have the interactions. They're going to have to be able. And a lot of it comes from fans, like, just like, dude, don't feel weird to go, like, lose yourself in a wrestling match. I go to wrestling shows, I lose my freaking mind because it's an escape from reality and it's fun. Like, what do I want to sit here like this the whole match, like the whole time? If I see cool stuff, be like, oh, that's cool, and then go and then be really, really sad the rest of the time and just sit with my arms crossed the whole time. No, if we're not giving you anything to celebrate, or we're not giving you anything to enjoy, then fine. By all means, that's on us as performers. We should do better. But if I know we're going out and we're getting great reviews from talent in the back, from hey, that was a great match, by people that matter and that know their stuff and their art, then lose yourself in that. Like, over the top cheer for the freaking baby faces, over the top boo for the heels. Just have a good time, And I don't know. I think people are starving after COVID. They were starving for interaction, and that it's just going to take. It'll take some time again to recondition. But wrestling's cyclical, I believe. Just like everything, everything's cyclical. You'll see Memphis wrestling come back, and it'll be traditional. You'll be able to finish a match with a headlock takeover and pin somebody. So it'll happen. I'm sorry, I got on a tangent there, guys. Neither one of you guys said anything.
Oh no, I'm letting you cook, because the one thing I always say, and James can attest to this, is I say we some fickle motherfuckers. because we will say we want something, then we get it, and then it's like, to me, it's like we're conditioned in that, because a little bit of it's a mix of social media, because we're trying to just get the moment click, and we're not trying to see where things go in the long term, right?
Right.
And
instant gratification, boy.
Instant gratification, right? Like, oh, I want them to win the belt right now, and it's like, no, you want to see them go through the struggle, because without the journey, the destination wouldn't be that much sweeter. And that, to me, is where I think us as fans need to be conditioned, because for better or for worse, AEW, they tend to go into just instant gratification. We wanted to, and I think their longest term story, I can think of only they've been in business 3 years. I can think of one story that was like hella long term, and that was like Hangman Page. And you got a talent, you got a roster full of talent, and you're not putting them in situations where the things that they're doing make sense. The reason why they're having to do these moves makes sense. So everything that you're saying, bro, you preach it to the choir. I'm in the back playing the tambourine with you. So
I know that people have a lot of opinions on the man, but if there's anybody or any gravitas that I can get to bring back, or have Jim Cornette come in and help out with me at all, that's the guy I'm calling, because he says stuff about AEW all the time. I don't know if you guys listen to his stuff, but he says a lot of stuff about AEW. And the stuff that works is the stuff that they listen to, because I know Tony Khan's listening to AEW, at least Cornette, and then Cornette says a lot of good stuff. He says a lot of stupid stuff. I mean, we all do. We're all dumb. But Cornette is, he's, dude, you don't talk about just good old-fashioned storytelling. I mean, he's the guy to talk to, and when they're most successful is when they listen to him. And that's my opinion, but who knows? I don't know anything about wrestling, so.
Now we've been, you know more about wrestling than maybe others, because you are a third generation wrestler. And you actually got the tag team with your dad, Joe Cazana, against Ricky and Kerry Morton. What did that moment mean to you, to be in the ring with your dad competing?
It was a cool experience, honestly. It was an angle that we built up. Again, it was one of those things that we built up for a fair show that the School of Morton did every year. And Ricky Morton's a draw anywhere he goes in East Tennessee and North Carolina, but to have an actual angle that's built up, that's being seen by tens of thousands of people across the internet and stuff, and then have them draw to a fair, it was cool. I wish my dad was in, he's going to kill me for saying this, but I wish he was in wrestling shape. I don't know if he could even bump right now. I haven't seen him bump in years, and I would love to tag with him. Hell, I'd love to wrestle him, and but I'd love to tag with him against Ricky and Kerry again, now that me and Kerry are 3 more years into this, or 2 more years into this. We're both significantly more seasoned, and we've both kind of come into our own, but to reestablish ourselves with our fathers would be really cool to do again too. So it was an experience. I mean, dude, it's, again, the little things. It's about experiences. It's about moments, and that was a moment that I've got pictures of that I'll be able to show my kids one day, or I'll be able to show some kids one day. Somebody's kids will look at them, but Yeah, it was cool, man. Like I said, I'd do it all over again. I'd love to do it again.
Well, I mean, when we did have Joe on the show, he did mention maybe teaming with Ricky to take you and Carry on.
Yeah, I don't know if he can handle that. That's I mean, I'm significantly bigger than both Ricky and my father. I would love that match too. I think that'd be a hell of a match to have and watch and just be a part of. But it's sometimes you just got to know your role.
But I do know that your little brother is starting to get into pro wrestling as well.
Hmm.
So when he does come into the pro wrestling, are you gonna be the supportive big brother, or are you gonna be Roman Reigns, fall in line, Oos brother?
Oh, he's already needs to I've already told him to fall in line before, so I'm probably going to be that more out. But I'm a coach at heart. I'm a competitor at heart, and I compete with everybody and anything. And he is I know I saw him doing some things. It's like, dude, if you're doing, it's like I'm 300 pounds and I can do this better than you. Why is that a thing? Like you're supposed to be the best athlete in the family. Why aren't you doing it better? So I rib at him and poke at him a little bit to see if I can get that fire lit. And then of course he goes out and does what I make fun of him for. He's like, well, now I can do it. It's like, well, cool. I've gotten better too at this. So can you do that yet? What do you? So I probably the fall in line. I'll be supportive. Hell, I'll take him with him wherever he wants to go. But as soon as he talks back, he's getting smacked. So he's I think they're week 8 out of 12 right now, basic training, and that I mean, if I can get him in the gym, he'll be all right.
And is there a 6-man tag in the future between you, your brother, and Joe?
I'm sure somewhere down the line, maybe. There's no telling with that.
Right. And is there, being a third generation, wrestling other second and third generation wrestlers like Kerry or Colby, is there like a difference of wrestling somebody like that than just a first generation? Is there like a different mentality or perspective?
I think for us, especially, like as we were brought up with old school dads, like Ricky, my dad, Steve Carino, like are very old school wrestlers. Steve is I mean, dudes. I think don't quote me on this either, but I think Mr. Carino did Mr. Wrestling 3 for a while, and
I believe so.
I mean, I think there is a different perspective because like you do know old school wrestling a little bit better, and it's kind of what you immerse yourself into, and you've got your dad's like voices ringing in the back of your head, like, "Hey, stupid, try this. Hey, stupid, do that. Hey, stupid, do that." And I think there might be a little, but man, I have experienced chemistry with those two a lot easier than some other non-generational guys. But then again, I've experienced great chemistry with people that are first-generation wrestlers that I'll probably never get again. So I think they're just great. They're just great workers because there's some generational guys out there that probably aren't very good. And that's sad truth. But like some people just aren't cut out for wrestling, even if it is in your family's bloodline. Like it's just that's a real dagger to the heart, though. But the mindset's not different. It's just that you guys. I think for me and Kerry, especially when we wrestle, like I know that he knows some stuff that I know that we can probably incorporate this really old school rock and roll spot into one of our matches, and that's always a little different than being like, "Hey man, have you ever? Oh, you don't know who the Rock and Roll Express is?" And then I punch them in the face. But it's like sometimes he's just got more knowledge of really specific things that I have knowledge of. So I think that helps us out. And Colby's got some too. And Colby's a great freaking head in the wrestling business as well.
Oh yeah.
But there's not much difference between wrestling generational guys and non-generational guys. I think there is generational, like the generational tension helps because I know we all want to be the best generational wrestlers we can be, and the pinnacle of that would be Randy Orton right now, and probably soon to be Cody Rhodes. But it's a competition between us. Like So, dude, I'm gonna go out here and outshine and outwork your ass. Like I'm gonna whoop you essentially. But there's a lot of tension that can build up there, and a lot of blow off happens. But in the end of the day, like we all just want wrestling to be good, and it's just we all have the same thought process for wrestling. I think that makes it really easy.
All right.
Nice little Hatfield McCoy there, Big Stick.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of heat between some generational wrestlers. I would assume I try to play devil's advocate for everybody, but I'm sure there's people out there that just hate hearing me talk. But yeah, no, it's you can definitely feel tension building in some matches, or when you're calling stuff, or when you're talking, or whatever. Like you can feel the tension between you guys start to build until there's some solid hits being thrown and stuff, and that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it believable. And that's our whole goal is to do this as best as possible, to where we blur the line for you guys that don't know what's going on, whether you think, oh my God, are they really fine? Oh God, that's like, oh, why did he hit him there? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like wrestling.
All right. And
Clip that.
Kaliko, you have a colossal question.
Ooh, this is gonna be good, because considering now you are hitting, I say, your stride, but let's say your career is over and you're among the greats, right?
Oh,
and they say, hey, you're so great, we're gonna do a movie about your life. We're gonna get the roughest, toughest dude, and he's gonna star you, and we're gonna put you in the film. But every film has to have a soundtrack. So what are 5 songs that would relate to you, to your wrestling career up until this point, that would resemble your career?
Oh boy. Well, I think Faster Horses, I can't remember the artist of that, but it's a great song about faster horses, younger women, older whiskey, and more money. I think that would be a good title track, probably.
Okay.
I think a little bit of man, I couldn't go when we went through our Vice City phase, my little 80s phase. You could always go with the Miami Vice soundtrack. The Miami Vice theme is always a good one to have. I think that would be in there somewhere.
Okay.
Which is off the wall nuts. Man, Nose on the Grindstone by Tyler Childers would have to make it. I think that's a very keep your nose on the grindstone and out of the pills. That's a good little thing. What's that, 3? Man, I don't know. That's just so much music. Cowboys from Hell's, it's got to be in there. I don't know why, but it has to be. Either that or Walk. One of the two.
Have them both in there.
I mean, we could have them both in there. I think Pantera is a very underrated band. But yeah, I just I'm the Highwayman. The Highwayman on there would be a good one. Man, there's just too many. There's too many good songs. Any old country and western song you can think of probably deserves to be in this movie, along with the plug from Cowboys from Hell and maybe some little poppy hip hop or something. I don't know.
As long as it's not pop country, right?
As long as it's not pop country. No Florida Georgia Line. None of these crap birds. None of these guys coming out there.
Oh my God! It's like, that's how I feel about blues. Trust me. Blues kind of got poppy too. So
the only hip hop I could think that would make sense to go on there would probably be dude. I'm a huge Biggie Smalls fan. Notorious B.I.G. Mo Money, Mo Problems.
What would you like to put in there?
Back Then by Mike Jones would probably have to make it somewhere in there. Back then, they did want me, now I'm hot,
they all on me. Oh,
yeah. That's always a good one. I mean, us country folk like hip hop too. We just don't like hip hop in our country. You know what I mean? If I want to listen to hip hop, I'll listen to hip hop.
Right. Don't put
Biggie, Tupac. Give me some Jay-Z, Eminem. Give me the freaking even Andy Mineo. I love me some Andy Mineo. He's a little cleaner than most of those other ones, but if If I want to listen to hip hop and rap, I'm going to listen to hip hop and rap. Don't give me these hand bobs and this head bobbing in country music, because that's not what country music's about. Country music is you and a guitar, baby.
Oh man, trust me, country. People don't know, man. The Conway Twitties. Oh, I love the story element. That's why I hate. Like the blues is the same way. Like old, like new school blues, I can't do it. Like, and I'm from Memphis, it's blues city, but everything is more like a tempo, and no one's really telling a story. And that was the best part about country and blues, storytelling.
Oh yeah, but Wheeler Walker Jr. is a good one. That's a little shot country right now, but he's got that old country and western twang and sound, and he's probably responsible for Florida Georgia Line splitting up, honestly. But he's got some good songs out there, But Wheeler Walker Jr., you boys need to go listen to him as soon as possible.
I think this is the first time we filled the whole soundtrack. we got all the songs.
I mean, we could put 30 or 40 songs. Yeah, I think we got about 10. I think it's good. I think it's a good little soundtrack.
All right,
so
good little spread. It's a good little music security board.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure. One of the boards. Shit.
The cheese board.
There you go. The cheese board.
The cheese and meat board.
Cheese on the board.
Now that we got the soundtrack down, who plays?
Silas Mason plays AJ Cazana. I had that one queued up ready to go. Silas Mason, the Thrill Billy, the future world's heavyweight champion of the National Wrestling Alliance. He has to play AJ Cazana reluctantly because I know he would hate it.
So you're
but he would do a great
to
job.
you.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll blank check, Silas. Do it.
Right.
I dare you to tell me no.
Now that we got you casted, who is three people? Now it's time for the supporting cast. Who would be three people in your movie, and who would play them?
I feel like Dr. Tom has to be in the movie.
Of course.
And I feel like he could play himself. I think that's the only logical explanation.
And I would.
I don't know who would play Dr. Tom. Man, who else would put in there? It would feel redundant and dumb, but Silas has to be in it, and somebody's got to play Silas. And I don't know who would play Silas, but somebody would have to be Silas. No, I would not play Silas, but I would want him to play me.
Okay.
For sure. Man, it would be hilarious actually to see him playing me while there's a character of him that he could have played perfectly. I don't know. I just feel like we could self-cast it at this point.
Okay.
Hell, I'll play myself. Silas could play. Now, growing up, we'd have to have younger guys, and I get that, but Silas could play himself, and I feel like my mama has to be in there at some point.
Okay.
And if I could, Dolly Parton's a really small woman, but I feel like that's the most well-known actress out there that would personify the angel and the saint that my mother is. So, and my mom can sing a little bit too, so I felt like Dolly could, throw a song in there or two, and we'd be all right.
All right. This is sounding like an awesome movie. Pre-order the
Sounds terrible. We have one actress, one real Hollywood actress. Burt Reynolds plays me. Young Burt Reynolds, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Sam Elliott could play Dr. Tom if we're really doing actors. Dolly's still my mom. And then who would play Silas? That's the one that would get me. Oh man, he's a Hollywood actor now.
True.
I don't know if you guys know that, but he's a Hollywood actor now, so I think he could play himself. We'll self-cast Silas at least. We'll give him, somebody.
No, no.
But wait. Cole Hauser, Rip Wheeler could play me. That's who was playing me. He'd have to get on the juice though, so you get this big, but he could play me.
All right, and
There
you
we
can
go.
pre-order those
Sorry,
tickets now. And you might actually have heat with your dad with Dolly Parton in your movie, because he did not seem like he liked Dolly Parton.
He's a weird dude. So, Dolly's a saint, and she's, again, I think the only woman that's widely known that could personify the angel and the sainthood that my mother deserves. And that's just how I feel,
All right. And that brings us to our next segment. AJ Cazana's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh boy. Let's see, one that's going to keep us out of jail. I don't know if we have any crazy road stories that would be surprising. I mean, I know Silas, Devin, and I, we were out in Vegas doing some crazy stuff out there, but that's about it, man. I don't. Silas doesn't like to wait till we get to an exit to use the bathroom. So there's been times where he's grabbed my wheel and pulled me over to the side of the road to force me off the road. We've almost wrecked, so he could alleviate some pain.
Okay.
It's real sad. I don't have very many crazy stories out there yet. We're still working on them,
Okay.
Still working. Well, I guess I lied. I've got one. Here's one for you.
Okay.
We're in New Orleans for Hard Times 3.
Okay.
I rode down, I think Silas was already in Baton Rouge filming. Me and Gustavo went and picked him up and then went to New Orleans. We went down a day early, got us a nice hotel about a block away from Bourbon Street, and we proceeded to get dressed and go out that night. And saw a couple people that we knew, and a couple people knew us, and made friends with some bouncers at some place. I think there's a place called Cats down there. Or Fats Cat. I don't know. It's a karaoke bar.
Okay.
And Silas Mason is an entertainer. And Silas Mason's been in a band. Silas Mason has done it all. And he was dying. He was dying to sing karaoke. So he goes and gets his name. He's got 2 karaoke songs. Rebel Yell by Billy Idol and Dragula by Rob Zombie are his 2 go-tos.
All right.
And Silas puts his name on the board, and then he notices he's like, dude, I keep getting skipped. People keep jumping ahead of me. I don't know what the hell's going on. And we go to find out, apparently, it's one of those slip somebody some money places.
Ah.
And we're there. It's me, Silas, Gustavo. There's a few other wrestlers around, across the bar across the street, coming in and out with us because we made friends with bouncers. So they're like, "Oh, you're the big guys. Yeah, y'all are good." I went, and it was the best money I've ever spent in my entire life. I said, Silas Mason, I love you. You're one of my favorite people on this earth. If you want to sing, we're going to get you on stage. And I went and slipped the woman some money. I said, if Silas sings next, I'll double it. I won't disclose what amount of money it was because I'll feel like an idiot. But gave her half. I said, if he sings next, I said, 1, you won't regret it. 2, I'll double what I just gave you. And she's like, okay, or whatever she did. And so Silas gets on stage next and proceeds to sing Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. It was the most entertaining performance of the night. I mean, I've got videos of this. I've got video. There was a video of, he was like, let me paint the picture. He's in an NWA shirt, skin tight. He's wearing a dad hat, a trucker hat. He's got short jean shorts on. Short, 6-7 inches above the knee short. Fanny pack, long tube socks, and those white New Balances that dads wear to cut grass in. And his mullet's flowing out. He may not have been wearing a hat. I could be lying about the hat. But his mullet is just flowing out perfectly. He is dressed it's the weirdest outfit I've ever seen him wear. Not the weirdest. It's pretty weird, though. He's got the New Balances, the tube socks, the short shorts, the really tight shirt, the fanny pack. He gets up there and just absolutely crushes Rebel Yell. At some point, he turns around to the crowd and, some woman, I guess, reached out and, grabbed his butt or something. So during the next instrumental break, he sits out over the stage and he looks at her and he says, "The merchandise ain't for sale, honey. Looks like you done went and got it." And
I'm just trying to figure that out. New Balance shoes. The New Balance.
I've got it on video. It's great. I've got the video of him being like, "The merchandise ain't for sale, baby." And some girls in front of me is like, "Oh my God, is that your friend?" I was like, "Yes, it is." That's a great road story. Oh, and then we proceeded to leave that night, and I was wearing blue jeans. I won't mention a brand because I got heat with the brand, but after this all happens, we get outside, dude, and I'm like, dude, that's the greatest thing ever. They invited him to stay on stage to sing another song, like because they were playing songs between like karaoke people, and he's like the guy, the DJ goes, hey, bro, he said, hey man, do you know Chop Suey? And Silas is like, you bet your ass I know Chop Suey. And he gets up there and sings Chop Suey. And I mean, it's just the greatest experience of my life. I got 3 like 30-second videos, but it was a 15-minute experience that I'll never forget. But we leave this place to go back to our hotel because we got to be up the next morning. And I don't know where it happened, but Silas like, man, that's great stuff, blah, blah. And he just grabs one of my like back pockets on my jeans and just pulls, and I mean blows the whole side of my jeans out. And my ass is showing. I'm wearing a thong, boys. My ass is showing, and you can see everything. I'm just like, well, I guess it's time to go home now. So I'm walking with one regular pant leg and one pant leg dragging the ground. And it's a good way to end a good night, is all I know. I get home and just rip them off completely. I was like, well, I guess I ain't never using these again, and just tear them off.
That's a great story.
So it's the merchandise ain't for sale, baby.
Why do you have heat with the brand of the jeans?
Because I've gotten 7 pairs of jeans. I haven't sent them back yet. I've bought 7 pairs of these jeans, and each one of them tears in the same damn place within like 2 wears.
That's not cool.
So I switched brands, and I don't want any other jeans other than the ones I'm currently wearing. But I know if I send these back, they'll send me 7 new pairs. But I don't want their jeans. I just want my money back. But it's fine. I'm not gonna get mad about it.
Okay.
It's not worth pitching a hussy fit or anything. So.
Well, it was still a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing.
Most welcome.
All right. So you can do an O'Connor roll?
I can do an O'Connor roll. Is that something that my dad told you I couldn't do? Because he asked me multiple times one night if I could do it, and I'm like, yeah, Dad. I'm trained by the best professional wrestling trainer on earth. Yes, I can do that. He said, I didn't know you could do it. I was like, so you don't know me very well then.
It was definitely a topic of discussion when we had him on. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know that he could do that." And then we had him
I've honestly never been so mad at him. I think that, which is at some point, because in the conversation, like he asked me 20 or 30 times, like, "You could do it, O'Connor? Are you sure?" I'm like, you think I'd say I could if I couldn't? What the hell do you look? What do I look like to you, old man? Some no show jabroni, whatever. Like, no, I don't know. I was really upset with him that night for about 10 minutes, and then after the match, I looked at him. He's like, "I'm sorry for even questioning you." I was like, "Thank you. That's all I needed. I love you. I'm sorry for being a jerk." Because I just told him that night. I told him, I was like, "Dude, if you can't stop asking me, I need you. Like, I'm just going to remove myself from the situation and walk away. Like, I'm not going to talk to you until after the match." And it was bad. I was not happy with that at all. But dude, are you sure you can do that, man? Like, you sure? Like, Dad, if I say I can do something, I can do it. I'm not afraid to tell you I can't do something. Hell, I can't jump 6 feet in the air. I ain't afraid to say I can't. But no, it was yes, I can do an O'Connor roll. Yes.
All right, and like I said, we did interview your dad, and he did have a message for me to tell you from him, and that was that his interview was better than yours.
Well, I'll let y'all decide on that one, and I'll let your viewership and your listeners decide, because I'm way more entertaining than he's ever thought about being.
Well, we will let the viewers decide when everything is said and done and comes out.
You let me know, because I've got that beautiful, beautiful NWA collaboratorship stuff on Instagram.
All right, Kaliko, you have any last questions?
This one's non-related to any wrestling. Tennessee went 10-2, man. Y'all think y'all gonna come back next year?
I hope so, man.
You got Milton, man. Y'all killed Clemson.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I told people that would happen. Somebody asked me at a bar one night. It's like, hey, if Clemson and Tennessee played on a neutral field, who's winning? I said Tennessee by 50, dude. It's not even close. And that was with Hendon Hooker. But no, Joe Milton's got a freaking golden cannon for an arm. Of course, I think we're going to do well. I think we win either Georgia or Alabama, one of those games again next year as a big win. No, the South Carolina game, I don't know what happened. I couldn't tell you what happened there, but that kid, Spencer Rattler, I think's his name.
Yeah.
His name. Dude, he
had the game of his life.
He went on a tear for like a month. He beat us and Clemson.
I know, right?
And that's, dude, it's exciting to watch Tennessee football right now, and it's exciting to see them on ESPN and stuff, that's for sure. Because I know where we were at when I was there, and we were not anywhere near this good. So it's exciting. I'm excited to watch this next year. 10-2, 9-3. Would love to go 12-0, of course, make it to that playoff. And I think we're going to an 18 playoff next year. So if we can go 10-2, I think we're in.
Hey, then you'll be there with Georgia, and then we both can agree that Bama and Florida sucks.
You'll have Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, and then fill in the blank other teams. I think those three teams make it. And then you've got Ohio State, Michigan, and probably
USC.
not TCU ever.
Podcast. USC.
But yeah, we should be all right. I think we'll do okay next year. You know.
Oh man. See, I did go to the national championship game though.
Yeah, that was cool. I was ready to go. If Tennessee made it, I was out there.
Oh yeah, that's what I told everybody. I was like, if they're here, I got it. I got to be here. Mm-hmm. And I never seen a more quiet TCU fan. I mean, it was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Georgia. It was a tale of two Americas with Georgia, because you had like the hardcore country Georgia fans, and then you had the Gucci Mane hip hop.
Yeah.
And they all were just like, fuck it, we can't stand TCU.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Oh man. See, James, get into college football. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer wrestling. Now when I do my research, I go down the rabbit hole, and sometimes you're not sure what you see, what you find out if it's true or if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift fan.
Tell you what now?
Taylor Swift fan.
Oh yeah, I used to be, not anymore.
Oh, what happened?
Big fan of her country stuff.
Okay, so do you?
But not the new. Yeah, dude, I still go back and listen to Red and the Taylor Swift album all the time. Teardrops on My Guitar. Yeah, We Are Never Getting Back Together. Oh yeah, I've got all those albums. I bought them all on iTunes, and I think I bought the physical copies of the same album. Like, I was pretty but I stopped at about, I think, Reputation or 1989, whatever album it was. I haven't listened to her since, and it really hurts, honestly. But some people just grow up the wrong way, and they go on their own separate pop way.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, some of the younger stuff, the original country stuff, is really solid work, and it just seems like it, unfortunately, depreciated over time.
Now, Red was a little poppy, but it's still a great album all around. I think that may be her best one that she's ever released, but she kind of got away from her country roots, so good luck to her.
Yeah.
She's not hurting.
Oh, definitely.
She's not hurting without me.
I know, based on them fucking ticket sales, the government coming in for Ticketmaster for some tickets. Shit, man.
If I got tickets to those and scalp them, I could literally pay for my whole trip to WrestleMania this year. Like, no joke. Alright, now, can you tell us, do blondes have more fun?
No, they don't. I had less fun as a blonde than I do now. At least within wrestling, dude. When I was a blonde, I was drinking way heavier. Way more.
How did the blonde help?
Oh, my dad used to bleach his hair. That's why.
Okay,
he used to bleach his hair for his retirement match. I bleached my hair for his retirement match, and it just kind of stuck.
Okay. But you prefer not being blonde.
Oh yeah, I prefer my natural hair color.
Alright, fair enough. Now, before we get everything done, can you tell us about the Cazana documentary and what that kind of meant to you and your family, and seeing some information that you didn't even know about your own family?
Yeah, the WBIR documentary was really, really good, man. William did a ton of work and put a great, I think it's about an hour long, documentary together about the three generations of Cazanas. He did a great history report on John Cazana based off a 30-second clip. He talked to my grandmother, John's daughter, and then my dad, of course, did some stuff, and he talked about my dad. I learned some things that maybe I didn't know, or maybe I thought it a different way. And then when he doing the stuff about me was cool. It was it's stuff like that. You can go one of two ways. You can either be humbled or you can grow an ego. And like, of course, brother, I've got an ego. Like, I'm confident as hell. It comes off cocky to a lot of people, but I mean, like, it was a humbling experience that somebody thought that highly of me to do a documentary, or at least include me in that documentary. He thought high enough of our family, and then we came back around, and there's another clip out, and I've got I meant to share it, and I've got the link for it and everything. But he did a follow up on it, and I'm trying to get like a lot of the deleted scenes and stuff, because there's a lot of good clips in there that like of just good interview questions and stuff that I would like to put out there. And I know the NWA would love to have them, because me and Silas were on there together, and it was like a 7-minute follow up, and I think the year difference, or it's only been 6 months since the documentary aired, and then that follow up, and like, the humbleness is still there. Like, dude, I'm a humble man, true and true. Like, I know my abilities, and I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, but when people care enough, or they think highly enough about you to say things and to do things like that, it's a really humbling experience. I had somebody come up and tell me, man, like, you're only 3 years into this. Like, you're really freaking good. And it's a guy that was with the WWE. Well, at some point in his career, he'd been with the WWE and FCW and Dr. Tom, and that was another humbling experience. That, like, it's like, man, like, I've had a terrible week, but that was a really nice thing that I needed to hear. And maybe I'm on the right path. And it was the same way with the documentary, man. Like, it was a cool experience, and it was fun to watch it back, because I watched it a couple times, and it's got a good playback value. So it was definitely exciting.
And you, for NWA, you was even featured on the news with your dad and I believe Kinsey Page. What did it mean? What was that experience like?
It was early in the morning. Silas and I had just gotten back from some show, and I know we had to be up early. He stayed here, I'm pretty sure. I don't know where he was, but yeah, it was Abby Ham. It was Abby Ham, the news journalist, my dad, Silas Mason, Kinsey Page, and me. And it was the first time I'd been on the news that early in the morning. And you can tell that I'm still tired and I didn't have enough caffeine. But it was fun watching Silas make a name for himself with that one he short clip.
Yes.
Made a name for himself there, and it went viral on the internet. Whatever, it was out big. And Kinsey did her thing, and it was a fun experience, man. It's because we're not related. We're not all related. Me and Dad are, obviously, but like between like the three of us, like, that's East Tennessee professional wrestling at its best. And there's other guys out there that do deserve to be up there with us in the consideration of top talent in East Tennessee, but I think we are a good epitome of professional wrestling in the area. And it was again, another humbling experience that the NWA asked me to be a part of that with them.
All right. Now on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Indifferent. Literally indifferent. I'll eat it. I'll not eat it.
Oh, really?
I like the sweetness and the taste of pineapple on a nicely cooked pizza. Pineapple and ham, pineapple pepperoni, sure. I mean, I can get it. I wouldn't eat it all the time, but I'm indifferent, I don't think it's as controversial as you think it is.
Oh, you've never heard some of the answers we've had.
I just like food. I'll eat it if it's on there. If it's not on there, great. I'll eat whatever you got for me.
Hey, fair enough. What's your spirit Pokemon?
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Oh, man, probably Snorlax.
Oh, sweet.
I only recognize the 150 original, well, I guess 151 original Pokemon, so probably, but I am as stubborn as Charizard, so that is a thing. So it might be Charizard, but it could also be Snorlax.
That's what I'm talking about. He's a tradition through and through. Only the 150, not the.
There's way too many. There's way too many new ones.
88,000, goddamn.
I literally just saw one of the new Pokemon, and it was literally just a giraffe.
Yeah.
And like, I'm with you, but I only recognize the first 151. So yeah, gotta respect the OGs.
I mean, oh yeah, probably Charizard. Honestly, pretty powerful, super stubborn. That makes sense to me.
All right, now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
If you wouldn't have asked me, I probably would have been able to tell you. But I do not, unfortunately, know that off the top of my head.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. Because a Doug can't spell.
That's right. That's right. I knew the last part.
Dr. Tom better give you some extra laps for that one.
He'll make me. I'm sure he'll make me do extra burpees for it. That seems to be everybody's go-to nowadays, to make me do burpees when I do something stupid or wrong.
And the weirdest question you'll ever be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully, would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
No. I mean, sure, I will. I'll just, as long as you identify what's its back and what's its front, so I can just put it on its back as fast as possible.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. And just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
That's ridiculous. That's almost as ridiculous as the guy that now. There was an Invisible Man match. I don't know if you guys have seen that match.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
I believe
That's ridiculous. It was great. I loved it. Ridiculous nonetheless.
I believe he wrestled himself in a match as well. It was Psycho Mike versus Evil Psycho Mike. So
I have to watch those because that's talent.
Yes. At one point, he's going to wrestle an actual human being, and it's going to be fantastic. All right. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully, sitting around a table with some family and WWE contracts somewhere looming, and some real life-changing money. Honestly, but if not that, just enjoying my time in professional wrestling and pushing the labels that I've been given, the promotions that are giving me a chance, pushing those to the highest that I can get them to, and just having a good time with it. And that's really it. But that life-changing money would be really nice to have.
All right, awesome. And what's some match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what AJ Cazana is all about?
Man, I've had some really good matches with Gustavo Aguilar. That's kind of old school AJ. The match with Kerry Morton from, I think it was on NWA USA, was a really good look into AJ Cazana coming into his own. And then I just wrestled Omar Amir at Future Stars of AML Wrestling. That was a pretty good little match. But yeah, man, any match with Gustavo is probably a good one. I know Silas and I had a nice one down, and I'm just now coming into my own, so it's really weird to be like, oh, you should go watch this and see what I'm all about, because I'm still figuring out what I'm all about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like more recently, I had a match with Gustavo in Georgia last Christmas, I think, or a couple Christmases ago. And definitely that one with Kerry would probably be the one. Hey, go watch this match. This is what AJ Cazana is all about.
I'll find the match with Kerry and Gustavo, and I'll put the link to the match in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
Absolutely, sounds good. There's also a match out there with Axton Ray that's pretty good from Imperial Pro Wrestling, but it was also kind of before I discovered myself and found out who I was. So it's I'm just a big meaty man, you know.
And ever evolving as well.
Always,
yes.
Always have to.
Right, and since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
All right. Oh yeah, let's do it. Quick answers.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Ric Flair.
Worst wrestler.
Ultimate Warrior.
We will accept that. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Give me Cody Rhodes, man. I think that'd be a fun one.
Alright. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Wait, time out. Go back. Are we talking WWE now or just anybody in general?
Anybody in general.
Oh, it's got to be. It's either Gustavo Aguilar or Silas Mason. It's probably Silas Mason.
How about just making a triple threat?
Let's do it, baby. I think that'd be a hell of a match.
Yeah, there we go. Alright, if you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Cody Rhodes. Done it. Been there.
Alright, finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Whatever you make it.
We also would have accepted taste great on toast.
That's... makes no sense, but kayfabe that. Gotcha.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
It's vegetable.
It is a fruit.
Well,
no, it ain't. Thank you. Grows out of the ground. God damn it.
Fruits grow on trees.
It's tomato logic. It has seeds.
Nah, whatever.
But you're part
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It tastes really good fried, is all I know.
Well, you're part of Squash Squad now, and that means more.
Yeah, that means more. Fuck that. Squash is a vegetable. No one's eating squash pie.
Okay. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Man, I feel like they should be covering your rear end.
So complete coverage.
Yeah. I'd say complete coverage, yeah. Under the cheek. Cupping it nicely.
Okay. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Never. Don't talk about Darby Allin because I don't know anything about Darby Allin except that if he lives longer than I do, he was meant for this.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, AJ, for coming on and doing this with us.
Absolutely, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. And where can we find all things AJ Cazana on social media and merchandise?
On that merchandising, again, angrylemonade.net. That is angrylemonade.net. That's all posted on my social media, which Instagram you can find at AJ Caz1. On Twitter, it's AJ Cazana. And on Facebook, it's also AJ Cazana. / Rookie of the Century on something, or I don't know, on Facebook.com / the Rookie of the Century. TikTok's also AJ Cazana. I keep it simple. You know, keep it simple, stupid. It's a good logic to live by.
TikTok, you doing the Wednesday Adam dance on now?
I'm absolutely not doing the Wednesday Adam dance, and that's probably something I should do. I feel like people would love to see that. Love to see me doing actual TikTok challenges, but I am wrestling instead and working out and being a man.
Fair enough. All right. You don't even have to go looking or type into your Google machine. All of the links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply go into the description, click the link, a new tab will appear on whatever device you're on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
Yeah, buy a shirt. Great new items coming out every single month.
Yeah, buy the T-shirt of the month, starting with this one.
Oh yeah.
Alright, of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Joe Cazana. And join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new interviews. You can follow the show at Wrestling with E for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. You can follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Kaliko?
You can find me trying to scout Taylor Swift tickets at I Am Kaliko.
And of course, you can follow Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust. Okay, AJ, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment. Alright.
Gotcha.
For always special guest AJ Cazana, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.